Shalom and welcome. It's Passover, Chag Sameach, one of the three festivals on the Jewish calendar, part of what are called the Shalosh Regalim, the three pilgrimage festivals, because in ancient times these are the festivals that people would travel, they would pilgrimage, walk to Jerusalem to offer sacrifice at the temple. It's also, compared to some of the other holidays, and especially compared to the other two festivals, there's a lot of detail in Torah about what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to tell the story. That seems to be the main crux of Passover, to retell the story. And as time has evolved, in modern times, today, we have all kinds of seders. We have traditional seders, done all in Hebrew, following the strict order of the Haggadah. Seder, in fact, means order. We have men's seders. We have women's seders. We have ecology-based seders where there's a focus on the environment. We have social action seders where there's a focus on social action and helping others. So there's all kinds of seders that we can have. Many people create their own seder. They don't use a published book, they create their own. These are all acceptable. There's Kabbalistic seders, also acceptable. There was once a time when Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev conducted a seder, and he was relatively pleased with himself because he had imbued the seder with all of the Kabbalistic connotations and commentary. He had used Kabbalistic kavanot intentions during the seder, and as he looked back, he was fairly pleased with what he had done. It seemed to be correct. But then there was a small voice from heaven. Don't be too pleased with the seder you have just conducted. There's a person, Reb Chaim the Porter, who lives in Berdichev, whose seder has been more lofty than yours. Well, Levi Yitzchak looked around. There were Hasidim there who would come, they'd finish their seders and they'd come to see how he concluded his. And he looked at them. Does anybody know this Chaim the Porter? They all looked at each other, and one man actually knew of Chaim the Porter, but he didn't know where he lived. Rabbi Yitzchak told him it would be very, very nice if Chaim the Porter could be invited to come here so I could speak with him. Well, the Hasidim all over Berdichev looking for Chaim the Porter. And eventually they did find Chaim's house, a dilapidated kind of old shack. And they knocked on the door, and his wife answered the door. Yes? They're looking for Chaim. Chaim? What do you want with Chaim? He's inside. He's dead drunk. The Hasidim ran into the room. Sure enough, there he was. They woke him up. They managed to get him up. And they practically carried him on their shoulders back to Rabbi Levi Yitzchak. They gave him a chair. The Rebbe looked at him and said, last Shabbat, on Shabbat Hagadol, the great Sabbath, Did you say all the prayers that were required? Yeah, responded Chaim. And last night, did you search your house for chametz? Deal. And tell me, tonight, did you have a seder? Rebbe, says Chaim. Rebbe, let me be honest with you. I heard that you could not drink vodka for 8 days. So this morning, I drank enough vodka for all 8 days. Naturally, I was tired, so I went to bed. Went to sleep. When it got dark, my wife woke me up. Chaim, Chaim, she said. Why don't you get up and have a seder like other Jews? I got up and I looked at her and I told her, look, I'm an ignorant man, an ignoramus. My father was an ignorant man, an ignoramus. I don't know anything about it. Only this I know. Our fathers' fathers were in exile among the gypsies. But we had this God. And he brought us out of the exile and made us free. But now, we're all in exile again. But we still have this God. And he will surely bring us out of this exile and make us free. He surely will. And then, Rebbe, I saw that on the table there was some matzah and some eggs and some wine. So I ate the matzah and I ate the eggs and I drank up the wine. Then I was so exhausted, I lay down and went back to sleep. Well, Rabbi Yitzchak told some of the Hasidim, you can take Chaim back to his house now. After they left, he turned to the Hasidim that were left. He says, this man's Seder is very acceptable in heaven. He told the story, he made the Seder with such honesty, no ulterior motives, just to do it. And he was so imbued with it. And it's even better because this is all he knows. He doesn't know anything else. So we can see from this story that there's all kinds of Seders. But that kernel of belief and of telling the story of the exile and the redemption from Egypt, no matter what form it takes, is acceptable. So, Hag Sameach, happy Passover, and I hope your Seders are as nice as the ones conducted by Rebbe Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev. Shalom.